Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch. And also, as always, you know how much I appreciate all my supporters, and I want you to be a part of the family, and you can do that by simply donating at the links down below. I got PayPal, buymeacoffee.com, or join my Patreon. 'Tis the season of giving. Thanksgiving is done. We're in the middle of the in the United States, you know, it's all one big holiday season. Good vibes are flowing forth. And if you're kind enough to do that for me, I'll do something for you. And every week you'll receive an exclusive video for me. You'll receive some first look videos, and I'll also send along information and breaking news from Cambodia first. So you'll hear it before you hear it on my public channel. Just as a way of me saying thank you for being awesome. So check out those links, join the family, and now let's get on with the video. All right, so somebody wanted to know, they asked if I would give a list of food items here that you would buy at the grocery store that are either hard to find or very expensive to buy here, as opposed to somewhere back in the West. Keep in mind, I'm going to give you this information based on my experiences back in the United States, because that's, of course, where I come from, and that was almost 4 years ago. So if it's like everywhere else in the world, prices have probably gone up a little bit, you know, even back there in the US. But I can't tell you anything about whether something is more expensive more expensive here than in Australia, or, you know, England, or any other country. I can only compare it to what I know about the United States. And I think they were talking about general grocery items. And that's the first thing you should realize, is there's a couple ways to do your shopping here in Cambodia. You got these little mom and pop stores like this one here that'll sell snacks and drinks and smokes and even some gasoline if you want it. So what was back there in those bottles. And then you got the local markets. If you don't plan on eating out all 3 meals every day, and you do plan on doing some cooking in your home or in your apartment here, you're probably going to want to go to a local market. It is the cheapest option, the least expensive option. And I can say this, I know a lot of people have mixed emotions about the local market. Some people think they're dirty, they're nasty, you got all these smells coming at you. You might see flies around the meat sitting outside, and it's really hot here, and you might think that's unsanitary and all that. But I can honestly say this, the 2 times I've had food related illnesses, both of which were within my first few months here 4 years ago, I've never been sick from buying, cooking, and eating anything at a market. Both of those instances came from sit-down restaurants, which some people might consider to be more sanitary. But for me personally, I've never had a food illness buying anything from the market. I know back in the West we're used to these big supermarkets where you buy your food, everything's in packages, and it's wrapped real nice, and it looks real good, it's kept refrigerated, everything's in a sterile type environment. But the meat's just the same for the most part. In fact, I tell people not to worry about the flies if they see them buzzing around the meat at the local markets. You should be more concerned if you don't see them, because I understand there's some kind of chemical some vendors will spray on their meat that the flies won't go near. So I think I feel safer with some flies buzzing around. But overall, your third choice will be the big Western style supermarkets like the one I just described. You have the aisles and the rows and everything's sterile, and you got everything in a freezer section, a cool section, you got all the canned goods, and you know, very nice and organized. And that's where you're going to find the majority of things you probably miss from back home once you get here. The rule to keep in mind basically is that anything that has to be imported is going to be a lot more expensive than you would pay back home, simply because the import fees can get pretty high, and it gets passed along to us, the consumers. Now, there are some local equivalents to things you get back home. I'll talk about those in a minute. But basically what I found, the things that are going to be the most expensive that you might like to eat, that you might crave sometimes, would be things like cheese. Cheese is very expensive here. Lunch meat, you know, bologna, salami, ham. Very, very expensive here. Things like macaroni and cheese, pasta sauce, cans of baked beans, potato chips, and you know, brand name potato chips like Lay's or Pringles, compared to where I come from, are very expensive here. Something Australians really like called Vegemite. I had some once. It was pretty good, but occasionally there'll be people complaining because they can't find any anywhere in the bigger supermarkets. So despite the fact that it's expensive, those people love them some Vegemite. But yeah, if you have a brand name that's famous back home, things like peanut butter and jelly, even those kind of things are really expensive here. Because if you got something that's not common or commonly made from Cambodia, it's going to have to be imported, and it's going to be a lot more expensive. But like I said, they do have alternatives to all those things. They won't be, well, if you've lived over here or you learned anything about being over in this part of the world, you hear this expression, same but different. Because everything's kind of the same, but it's just a little bit off sometimes. And that's what you're going to get with these off-brand names. Like, yeah, you can get a can of Pringle potato chips, regular size cans, usually about $2.50, $2.75. When I left the United States, I could get them at my local supermarket for 99 cents all day long. And if I stopped at a little convenience store, gas station type deal, maybe $1.25. So it's definitely double the price. But they have potato chip brands over here that look like Pringles. They're in the same can. They're kind of shaped the same. They just have these other names to them. And even though they're typically, you know, between $1.50 and $1.75. And they look the same. And they eat the same. They taste good. They taste just about the same, but they're just a little different. Cans are a little bit smaller. You know, you don't get as many in the can. When you open it up, you see a big space at the top where there should have been more chips piled. Things like that. So yeah, if it's imported, you're going to be paying a lot more money for that. Same thing goes for meat. They have all the meat you could want here locally. Like I said, at the local markets, that's going to be your best, least expensive option. Beef, pork, chicken. The beef here, I don't like the local beef, simply because you do not see cows here living on a nice happy farm in a pasture full of rich green grass, chewing on it all day. The animals here, especially the bigger animals, they're used as work animals until they can't work anymore. Then they're sent to the slaughterhouse. And because of that, they're often skinny, they don't have a lot of fat. And we all know that fat equals flavor. So the beef here, a little bit drier than I was used to, a little bit more chewy and tough. Takes longer and has to be cooked in a certain way to get it to be as tender as you can. But imported beef, like from another country, well, you can find it here, but it is going to be very, very expensive. Could be as much as, you know, $10 a pound, not even a kilo, a pound. But even here, beef is the most expensive out of all the options. Fish is the cheapest, if you like fish, local fish. And then you have the chicken, then you have the pork, and then beef is considered a luxury kind of here, you know, so it is the most expensive. And even at the local market, you'll probably be paying anywhere from $6 to $8 for a kilo. For my American friends, that's 2.2 pounds. But like I said, if you want the good imported stuff, you know, you're going to be paying a few dollars more, maybe even double. So those are the kinds of things, kind of food items you might want. You might get a craving for when you're over here, that you're going to have to pay a lot more money than what you're used to. But I mean, if you just want the crunch of a chip and you don't care if it's Pringles or some kind of local squid flavored chip, you can find those pretty cheap for, like, you know, 50 cents a bag or whatever. A lot less expensive. I guess that same, just different. Much like everything else here. You'll also notice that when there are businesses, restaurants, bakeries that use these kind of ingredients that aren't very common here, the prices of their food is also more expensive, because they of course have to make a profit. You don't see ovens or stoves in apartments here. Rarely. No gas is coming into any of the houses or apartments here. So even the ones that do probably use electric, and electric is very expensive here. The oven itself would be really expensive here because it's not a common item. So most people just don't bake at home. So incurring all those costs from like a top bakery here with all the nice imported ingredients from overseas means that you could pay $3 or $4 just for a muffin of a certain flavor or variety, and just the cost of doing business, you know. But I've said this before, as far as restaurants go, you can find anything under the sun, you know, for everything from fast food. You know, you got Burger King, you got KFC, you got Domino's Pizza, you have a Dairy Queen inside the mall, you have a Starbucks, you have you know, all kinds of American or Western style fast food places. And no matter what kind of cuisine you like from whichever country, you can probably find it here. There are restaurants for every taste. And like I said, almost every kind of cuisine you can think of. So I hope that answered your questions about the food, what you can expect. I have done videos in the past. If you look down through my videos, I've done walk and talks inside of some of these Western style supermarkets, showed prices, telling you about how much to expect to pay for certain things. I haven't done one in a while simply because a lot of these places don't like you to go in and film. If they see you filming, they'll come up and tell you to shut it off. That happened last time at the big Angkor market. The Angkor supermarket is one of the more popular Western style supermarkets here. I was almost done with the video anyway, so luckily I got most of it out there, but I was asked to quit filming. And of course, I obeyed. Their store, they can make the rules, I guess. But yeah, if you want to look down there for some of those, they are available. And that is why I haven't done another one, seeing that prices have been updated, simply because they don't want me to film in there. Alright, so that'll do it for this one. Thank you guys for watching. If you got any help out of it, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't, subscribe. The subscribe button, just hit the subscribe button down there. And share it if you want. And don't forget to check out all my links down below. Links to my PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, my Patreon. Join the family, get on the list. And starting in just a couple days, you'll receive exclusive videos just like this one, except just for you. Also down below are links to my social media, other channels vlogging in Cambodia that you should watch. Be sure to like my Dave Does Cambodia Facebook page. That link is down below. And check out my science news website, SciThink. That link is also right there down below. Alright, I'll talk to you guys in the next one.